Hello students all around Albania. I am Bruna, the English teacher. I hope you are doing well in this period of time. Today we are going to start with a new topic. It's about writing emails and letters. Let's start. Kjo temë i përket fushës së gjuhës dhe komunikimit. Lënda, gjuha angleze e parë dhe e dytë, për klasën e 8 dhe të 9. In the past, friends used to call or meet up to catch up on each other's news. Nowadays, with the rise of technological communication, personal contact is becoming less frequent, and more distant communication methods like email, text, instant messaging, etc. are taking its place and becoming more popular. I will suggest you some channels of communicating, from the most direct to the most distant. That's to say, from the spoken communication channels to the written communication ones. I'm pretty sure that you already know all of them. We can list them starting from face-to-face communication and going on with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. I would like to talk about each of them, but as I announced you beforehand, we are going to stop onto email and more precisely on how to write an email. We use the appropriate layout. We organize it into paragraphs and use set phrases. We also use expressions, for example, well, of course, anyway, you know, by the way. Use, please, standard grammar and spelling conventions. Don't use forms such as wanna, see you later in this form, etc., typical of you teenagers nowadays. Instead, use short forms. For example, I'm, don't, contractions. You may also use exclamations such as guess what, and direct questions, what have you been up to? Among all types of emails, I have chosen for you, dear students, an email giving news. Hello, Alex. How are things? Thanks for your email. It's always great to hear from you. Sorry I didn't reply sooner, but I've been really busy lately. Anyway, I'm writing because I want to tell you about a new hobby I've taken up. It's called Aikido. Have you ever heard of it? It's a martial art that developed in the early 20th century in Japan. I heard about it from a friend who started classes last year. I decided to try it out too, and it's absolutely amazing. There are many different techniques to learn, but the instructor is really helpful and I am processing well. What I like about it is that it isn't violent at all. I'm learning how to defend myself without hurting my opponent. We have classes twice a week and sometimes even on the beach. It's really interesting and fun. I don't even realize we are exercising, but when I go home, I'm exhausted. So what about you? Do you still go to the gym? Maybe you can check out an Aikido class. Well, that's all for now. I have got to start studying. Waiting for your news. Bye for now, Mike. In this slide, you can notice a plan about an email giving news. We always start by using the greeting. We greet the person you're writing to. For example, Dear Kevin, Hi Bill, hello Mary, dear mom, and so on. You should start your opening paragraph by beginning your email and say why you're writing. You ought to make use of set phrases like, "How have you been? Thanks for your last email. I haven't heard from you for ages. Sorry I didn't reply sooner, but I'm writing to tell you about. Guess what? I have some exciting news." Then you keep going with the main part. You need to give your news. You should use phrases like, "The good news is, I've recently," can you believe it? In the closing paragraph, which is the last one, you need to state anything you want to emphasize, ask for news, and end your email. You make use of phrases like, "What's happening in your life? What about you? Do you still?" Waiting for your email or reply. Make sure you write and tell me your news. Finally, the signing off part. You need to use a signature ending and your first name below that. For example, yours, Beth. Take care, Jill. Bye for now, Frank. Keep in touch, Sue. Speak to you soon, Lee, and so on. Here you can see a model informal email. In this part is the subject, which is a brief phrase that indicates what the content of the email is. We start the email with a greeting. For example, "Dear Eileen." It is put on the left-hand side of the page. Don't forget to put a comma after the name. When we want to open a paragraph, we start writing in blocked paragraphs, leaving a blank line in between the paragraphs. And don't forget the signing off part. It is positioned on the left-hand side of the page. You need to use your first name and don't forget to put the comma before it. Except writing an email, I have also prepared how to write a letter. It is almost the same, but with some little differences. First, you need to put your address on the right-hand side of the page, which is not always necessary. You also need to put the date below the address. For example, 20th March 2020. You should position the greeting part on the left-hand side of the page. Put a comma after the name. For example, "Dear Betty." The following part are the indent paragraphs, in which you should start the first line of each paragraph under the comma. I have also prepared for you, dear students, a home assignment. You are going to write an email to Mike. Say how happy you are that he's taken up a new hobby and give him your news. Thank you for attending me.